One of the problems was that we didn't have much experience with playing Gran Turismo ourselves. So a colleague from PlayStation marketing started talking to us and was like, hey, I know this guy.
We worked with a retired GT driver in Zurich, Tim, and he was really instrumental in teaching us about the details and nuances of race car driving.
So when I first said to Tim this goal of beating the best human drivers in a direct head-to-head comparison,
good luck with that. That was the first thing I thought.
So I remember the first test that we did with Tim during the time at Sony AI. Tim was just aggressively pushed off the track. And at first he was amused, but over time he got quite frustrated.
It was very wobbly. They just went from side to side all the time with the car. It wasn't really that good, but it was very fast.
We know what it means to drive fast.
But the whole overtaking challenge is so much more difficult than just driving on the track by itself.
He gave us all these ideas with regard to what are the kinds of skills that you want GT Sophy to learn about.
If you're going to go and try to race the best in the world at Gran Turismo, you really can't do it with just, 2 PlayStations lying around and a laptop. You're going to need some serious compute. You're going to need a lot of PlayStations to try a lot of things.
I just like building things. I like making things work. I like making things efficient. I like making things better. Florian had the rack of PlayStation and had done all the training locally with one computer there. But in order to scale this up, you couldn't have everything on one machine.
He had about 10 PlayStations or so, but he could only use like 4 at a time. I remember spending a month writing some hastily written code to split these GPUs on this machine so that we could run 12 or 16 experiments. A couple of months later, we got like another new GPU machine added to our cluster. We managed to get up to like 30 experiments or so.
One of the great things about Sony is we have the opportunity to build these kind of gaming AI technologies at scale.
Sony Interactive Entertainment has many PlayStations that they're running in the cloud.
All of those cloud PlayStations are intended for users, but the users aren't using them all of the time. So going from 40 PlayStations to thousands meant that you could train GT Sophy to not just get around the track, but to race around the track at good speed in a day.
So you can run many different games at the same time in parallel.
So we were able to train GT Sophy to compete with the best racers really quickly.
So we did these races with Tim, where we'd have one GT Sophy in front for him to catch and one behind him in kind of the vain hope that we might one day catch him. And early on, GT Sophy was no match. And he would even sometimes catch a GT Sophy that was started way out front. We took all those lessons to heart. We built new training scenarios. We made architecture modifications. And then one day, Tim was really hyper-focused on the GT Sophy version in front. But we saw in the rear-view mirror of Tim, the other GT Sophy agents start to come up on him. And then it made this flash of a pass, and Tim said, "Wow, what was that?" And that was a big moment for us because we had finally made a real pass against a truly skillful human.
It was just mind-blowing.
The most stressful thing in the project was definitely the July exhibition.
We were very nervous because just a week before the event, we were told that GT Sophy is very aggressive.
They told us if we raced them, they'd get blackcarded.
You'd be like flagged out of the race. Sportsmanship is very hard because the rules of racing aren't written down in like clear, easy to define rules.
In real racing, you have to have some level of etiquette and rules to make sure no one's going to do anything that puts anyone's life at undue risk. And so in the video game, they're trying to capture the full racing experience of what it's like. And that means not driving people off the road.
Often those rules are not like exactly specified.
So getting the AI to drive in a sporting way, to be polite, respect other people while also being competitive is very challenging.
So we worked very hard on modifying this reward function and lowering down the thresholds.
So that was 1 week before the actual event. So that was kind of horrifying.
Hello everyone, my name is Sasha. Today I'm at the Polyphony Digital Studio, the renowned makers of the PlayStation game titled Gran Turismo. Soon there will be a historic race between an AI agent developed by Sony AI and GT top drivers, including the current world champion.
The exhibitions were set up to be 4v4, so there were 4 humans against 4 AIs, and we interleaved the humans and the AIs, and then we did 3 track combinations.
After each race, you look at all the positions that the cars have taken. Every position has a point associated with it, and you tally points.
And then the last track start was worth double points.
There were 5 of us who lived in the Boston area at the time of the July race. And we gathered that evening to watch the race live from my living room sofa.
I was in the Sony AI office in Zurich, so we were essentially on a Zoom call with the team. I would say I was confident that we would pose a challenge.
We were faster by ourselves, and that proved itself out in the qualifying laps, which we were always running faster than the humans.
We would definitely not make it easy for them.
So Race Together 2021 is underway. It's Sophie Bordeaux that leads the field over the timing line.
Every time GT Sophy would come very close to opponent, or I was like, okay, don't crash into it now.
It's very stressful to watch the agent just drive in an actual competition because it's moments away from, a massive accident.
Things kind of went a little awry from the start, I would say. Literally, the start of the Seaside race.
Ryu down the inside of Yamanaka, not quite through there. So now there is a big split between the top AI, which is Sophie Bordeaux, and our top Gran Turismo drivers in 2nd down to 5th place, respectively.
They knew our cars were really fast, but what the human players had learned to do really well is they were able to hold their positions.
And it's a very short race, and so once we had fallen behind, there wasn't much time to catch up.
The first GT Sophy car ran away and won the race, but we didn't feel all that good about that because the humans finished 2, 3, 4, and 5, and our cars were never really in the mix with them.
23 points to our pro GT drivers, 16 points for GT Sophy, of course, as a result of those finishing positions.
We had a tough time in race 1. There was like a quick huddle in a conference call. We were also looking at each other, trying to figure out, all right, let's see what we can do for the next race.
And we did make some changes.
If it works out well, it's a nice story, but if it doesn't work out well, you're going to kick yourself when it actually goes bad.
Race 2 then is underway for Race Together 2021.
And the second race went quite well. It was very exciting. It was wheel to wheel the whole time, and we thought it turned into a great race.
At Maggiore, we actually took the first 2 positions and wrestled back the points lead. Maybe we've got it.
It's all up to the race 3.
So Sarthe is the most complicated out of these races. And it also has 7 laps instead of 4 and 6 laps that the other 2 tracks have.
The last race was double the points, so we still had a chance to come back.
Qualifying once again, Sophie Orange, who qualified on pole position from Takuma Miyazono then, so it is the GT.
For the final race, we had the qualifying round first. We were ahead of them by about 1.4 seconds, which is a good sign for us.
It's lights out and we are underway. Orange gets away well from Miyazono, not a bad start there. They come down towards the first corner.
Essentially, our car started 1 and 3, but by the time the first turn is done, 3 human drivers have taken the top 3 positions.
GT Pro drivers who have the advantage in the early stages.
You could see everyone's face change because now it means we have to catch up with these really good players.
So we figured it'll take 1 lap to catch back up, and then we'll be in the race again and we'll get back into 2nd place.
But what we noticed was that our cars weren't able to catch up.
Even though GT Sophy was faster, it wasn't able to actually close the distance. And then finally, after GT Sophy car caught Yamanaka and passed him, he passed it right back right away.
What a move then from Tomoaki Yamanaka to get 2nd place back. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. It's a Japanese 1-2 with Yamanaka getting 2nd place in the final stages of that race. What a phenomenal end.
I wanted to go hide myself. I feel like I wanted to press leave on the Zoom call and I wanted to go into a room and, not talk to anybody.
We were expecting GT Sophy to win, but the human players were better than I expected.
What was amazing was that we said, okay, is everyone on board with making it better? And everyone was on board.
So we set a rematch target of the end of October.
It felt like we had enough time to identify the problems, but it was certainly going to be a race against time to fix them. That third race at Sarthe was the big hang-up once again. Our kart, Sophy Orange, went off the track.
From pole position to last place for Sophy Orange.
It was like, oh no.
There is such a thin line between making it and not making it.
And then GT Sophy hit the gas.
We were all like screaming and full of adrenaline.
It was incredible.